If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
What was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was exactly what I said. You know, that's what my focus was. You know, it's not about Trump. It's about who is going to present the best deal for black people, who is going to have an economic justice plan for black people, who is going to finally give black people what they are owed for building this country. You know, and I think that, you know, a black woman running mate is necessary, especially after the day. It is very important that, you know, he makes a black woman his running mate. You know, it's too many sisters that are overly qualified for the position. Stacey Abrams of Georgia, Val Demings of Florida, you know, Senator Kamala Harris. Like, it's just too many sisters out there for him to just look past. I mean, that's why I don't even care about the words and the lip service, and the apology is cool, but the best apology is actually a black agenda. You know, they got to make some real policy commitments to black people.
Joe Biden is now trying to narrow his search for a vice president.
I commit that I will, in fact, pick a woman to be vice president.
You just committed here tonight that your running mate, if you get the nomination, will be a woman?
Yes.
Joe Biden is committed to picking a female vice president.
He's already closed the door on anybody who's not female, so we're only dealing with female possibilities here.
His former rivals are now potential picks, including Senators Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren. They are both now actively campaigning for Biden. Now, he has promised that his vice president will be a woman.
Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar have been mentioned.
Only 2 women have ever been asked to run for vice president, and neither helped their party win the White House.
Should pick a woman, I think, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
A white or a Latino or black woman, either one, I think, would work. But it has to be a woman.
If he asked you to be his running mate, would you say yes?
Yes.
I know that your husband is in the process of considering a running mate. Who do you want it to be?
Oh, my goodness. You know, there's so many qualified, strong women, and you've seen them in the process that we've gone through. And so I'm going to leave that up to him.
The person who really is qualified to do it, and he cannot pick her. Hillary Clinton.
Oh, Hillary Clinton, yeah.
More than 200 black women signed an open letter to Biden urging him to choose a black woman as a running mate.
He's already facing significant pressure to pick a woman of color.
You know, the VP pick is, it isn't an incentive, it's a thank you. And I think it should be a thank you to black women. I think black women are going to have to carry the load in this election like they always do. We are their strongest voting base.
And then, as Sonny said, probably it should be a black woman for exactly what she said. I don't want to repeat it. I think she was right about everything she said.
Women of color, particularly black women, are the strongest part of the Democratic Party, the most loyal. But that loyalty isn't simply how we vote, it's how we work.
For the past 12 presidential elections, when black women have voted in presidential elections, they voted for the Democratic candidate at least more than 86%, at a rate of at least more than 86%. So talk about loyalty in numbers. There you have it.
And we've earned that spot with our loyalty for decades.
And that it's time for that loyalty to be rewarded in a sense. It's not enough anymore to just say thank you and to acknowledge it, but it's time to put black women in those key roles and in those key positions.
Senator Kamala Harris over the weekend said in an interview that it will be important for Joe Biden to choose a woman of color. She didn't go far enough as to saying a black woman, but she says a woman of color.
It's going to matter if it's somebody like Senator Kamala Harris or, for example, Stacey Abrams, because whilst they are both black women, I don't want it, the discussion shouldn't be just about a black woman. It should be about the person who most adheres to the party ideals for the Democrats, the things that they're most interested in, the things that they're most willing to get done, to accomplish, and who will be able to galvanize the largest number of voters to bring them to the polls.
Well, then I have a suggestion. I don't know. I mean, this is just off the top of my head. Maybe former First Lady Michelle Obama?
Black women have a pulse on their communities, that they live in understanding and they come from a place of understanding.
So, yes, black women, a lot of people in the Democratic Party agree that that's got to be a key decision for former Vice President Biden. Then the question becomes, which black woman?
And so in my view, he should pick a black woman. I think that Stacey Abrams, of course, is a good option, although she hasn't held office, and so that concerns me.
She says she's more than qualified for the position, and she says similar to what a lot of the women that I spoke to in Congress have been saying, that it's time for the Democratic Party to acknowledge the contributions that black women have made to the party. Women of color as well, but specifically black women.
And I would challenge anyone to look at my resume and to understand that I've built 3 national organizations in the last year and a half tackling the most fundamental questions in our country. And I'm not stopping simply because there are people who dislike what I do.
And you also had Amy Allison from She the People, a national coalition of women of color, who said that it would be a monumental mistake, quite frankly, for former Vice President Biden to not consider and commit even to putting a woman of color or selecting a woman of color as his running mate.
Do you think that not choosing a woman of color, a black woman actually, is a slap in the face to the black female voters